Commander Zara 5 stood before the Galactic Council's Xenobiology panel, her three arms gesticulating wildly as she recounted her expedition to the third planet of the Sol system. The assembled beings from across the galaxy leaned forward in their bioluminescent seats, hanging on every word of her survival tale. "The apex predators of terror," she declared, her voice carrying the weight of trauma, "are beyond anything we've catalogued in our 1,000-year exploration of the galaxy. We barely escaped with our lives." The Centaurian delegate's tentacles writhed with excitement. "Tell us about these Earth predators." Zara 5's exoskeleton darkened with remembered fear. "First, we encountered the great striped hunters, massive felines with crushing jaws and razor claws. They stalk through dense vegetation, perfectly camouflaged, capable of taking down prey twice their size with a single pounce." A collective shudder ran through the assembly. "Then came the pack hunters," she continued, canines with incredible endurance and tactical intelligence. They coordinated their attacks with precision that would make our military strategists weep. And the massive ursine creatures, towering behemoths capable of crushing a Calaxian battlesuit with their bare paws. The Andromedan representative's gill slits fluttered nervously. "How did your team survive?" "Barely," Zara 5 replied grimly. "We lost 3 scouts to the aerial hunters' massive raptors with talons that could pierce through our advanced armor plating. Their eyes could spot movement from altitudes that defied atmospheric physics. And don't get me started on the aquatic predators, rows upon rows of serrated teeth, prehistoric monsters that haven't evolved in millions of cycles because they achieved perfection eons ago." The council chamber buzzed with alarmed whispers in dozens of alien languages. The very idea of a planet so hostile, so dominated by apex predators, seemed to challenge everything they understood about habitable worlds. But in the shadows of the great amphitheater, a figure stirred. Dr. Marcus Chen, Earth's first and only representative to the Galactic Council, had been listening with growing amusement. The middle-aged xenobiologist adjusted his simple cloth jacket, a stark contrast to the advanced biosuits worn by other delegates, and slowly rose from his seat. "Fascinating account, Commander," Dr. Chen said, his voice carrying easily across the vast chamber, despite lacking any technological amplification. "But I'm curious about something." The assembly turned toward the human, many seeing one of his species for the first time. He appeared remarkably unremarkable, no exoskeleton, no natural weapons, no apparent evolutionary advantages. "You speak of tigers, wolves, bears, eagles, and sharks." Dr. Chen continued, walking casually down the aisle toward the speaking platform. Several alien delegates instinctively recoiled as he passed. "These are indeed impressive predators. But I have to ask, where exactly on Earth did you land?" Zara 5's compound eyes narrowed suspiciously. "We conducted our expedition in what your primitive maps call Africa, Asia, and various coastal regions. We studied your predators extensively before barely escaping with our lives." Dr. Chen nodded thoughtfully, then smiled an expression that seemed to unsettle many of the observers. "Ah, I see the confusion. You visited our nature preserves, our protected wildlife sanctuaries, our national parks." He paused, his smile widening. "You met the friendly ones." The chamber fell into complete silence. "The friendly ones?" the Centaurian delegate whispered. Dr. Chen's eyes gleamed with something that made several delegates unconsciously activate their personal defense systems. "Those creatures you described, tigers, bears, sharks, we've spent centuries protecting them. They're endangered species. We keep them safe in special reserves because they're too gentle to survive in the real world anymore." He began walking slowly around the platform, hands clasped behind his back. "You see, what you encountered were Earth's former apex predators. The ones we displaced about 50,000 years ago." "Displaced?" Zara 5's voice cracked. "Oh yes," Dr. Chen replied conversationally. "We felt bad about it, really. These magnificent creatures had ruled their ecosystems for millions of years. And then we came along. Naked apes with opposable thumbs and an unfortunate tendency toward persistence hunting and tool use." The Andromedan delegate's bioluminescence flickered frantically. "But surely these predators were superior to your species physically." Dr. Chen chuckled a sound that somehow made the chamber's temperature seem to drop several degrees. "Physically? Absolutely. Stronger, faster, better armed with natural weapons. But they had a critical weakness." "What weakness?" Several delegates asked simultaneously. "They were solitary hunters, or at best, they hunted in small packs. They followed seasonal patterns. They were—" Dr. Chen paused, searching for the right word, "predictable." "We, on the other hand, were persistence hunters who could track prey across continents, coordinate in groups of hundreds, and adapt our tactics in real time. When we decided something needed to die, it died. When we decided something needed to be protected, we built entire industries around keeping it alive." He gestured toward the viewing screens, showing images from Zara 5's expedition footage. "Those tigers you barely escaped from. We have more of them in captivity than exist in the wild. We breed them, study them, and carefully maintain their populations because we drove them to the brink of extinction so efficiently that we felt guilty about it." The silence stretched uncomfortably. "But surely," the Calaxian military observer interjected, "you cannot claim to be more dangerous than creatures evolved specifically for predation." Dr. Chen's expression shifted slightly, and something predatory flickered behind his eyes. "Commander, you evaluated Earth's predators based on their natural capabilities. But you never asked the right question, which is, what happened to the predators that used to hunt us?" The implications hung in the air, like a toxic cloud. Dr. Chen continued, his voice taking on an almost clinical tone. "Cave bears twice the size of any bear you encountered. Extinct. Saber-toothed cats with fangs that could pierce mammoth skulls. Extinct. Giant crocodilians that dwarfed your prehistoric monsters. Extinct. Terror birds, cave lions, megalodons, short-faced bears." He paused. "All extinct. All gone shortly after humans developed cooperative hunting strategies." Zara 5 was slowly backing away from the platform. "Surely that's coincidental. The average mammalian species exists for about 1 million years before natural extinction," Dr. Chen replied matter-of-factly. "The megafauna extinction events began roughly 50,000 years ago and accelerated rapidly. The pattern is quite clear once you map human migration patterns against extinction timelines." He smiled again, and this time there was nothing pleasant about it. "You survived encounters with Earth's remaining predators, Commander. The ones we decided to keep around because we found them beautiful or interesting, or because they help maintain ecosystem balance. You survived because you encountered the animals we allow to exist." Dr. Chen turned toward the assembly, spreading his arms wide. "Earth isn't a planet ruled by predators, delegates. Earth is a planet where the apex predator got so efficient at killing that it had to invent ethics to prevent itself from accidentally sterilizing its own biosphere." The chamber erupted in chaos as delegates began frantically activating emergency protocols. But Dr. Chen just smiled and straightened his simple jacket. "Don't worry," he said calmly. "We're friendly too, most of the time.